So, Dawn, it's great to have you back again. Looks like we're going to continue the discussion of CPG in an era of e-commerce and frictionless markets. Before we get into it, I thought you might want to say hello and just welcome any new listeners by sharing your background.
Hi, Tom. I am an innovation consultant. I've been working in CPG for almost 40 years now. I specialize in innovation, and the topic today of our discovery board is e-commerce and frictionless markets, which is definitely an innovation in CPG markets today. This discovery board has been going on for about 6 months now, and we have quite a few great experts in e-commerce, experts in CPG, some people with more of a retail focus, others with more of a product focus, and we've dealt with a lot of different topics together. So this topic today, you'll see, is a bit different, but it's something that definitely leverages the skills of all of our panelists. So let's first talk about what the path was for the board this week. A couple of weeks ago, of course, Toys R Us bankruptcy was announced. We don't think about Toys R Us as a typical CPG retailer, but in fact, Toys R Us is absolutely gigantic when it comes to baby care products, for example, diapers and wipes, formula, and food. And when you look at them being such a big player in CPG brick and mortar, the idea that they could go belly up is a little scary. And the thought here was, what can we learn from Toys R Us going under? What does this mean for other brick and mortar companies? There was a lot of talk about Toys R Us demise being related to Amazon and e-commerce. We have a lot of comments in here about what really happened. And since the bankruptcy, there's been a lot of information available online. But generally, the board decided that Toys R Us demise was of their own making, and that brick and mortar companies like Toys R Us need to be focusing on their customer and an awesome in-store experience, as well as dealing with the e-commerce situation, which is all around us. Toys R Us was in a perfect storm. They lost their business to Amazon, but they also lost their business to Walmart and Target, both e-commerce and brick and mortar. To continue their hold on the toy market, they really needed to innovate, and they didn't. Now, we've talked a lot on this board about brick and mortar and how retailers need to defend themselves from the growth in e-commerce, and the fact of the matter is that brick and mortar actually has advantages with physical space. Having the physical presence allows companies to offer in-store experiences, community activities, and certainly a business like a toy business, you could imagine playtime and fun and other innovations that could have taken place in the toy world. You know, moms, new parents today are millennials and Gen Z. What you're starting to see happening through to Toys R Us is things that can happen as that cohort ages, can reflect on what Toys R Us is seeing here. The other thing with that market is it's very targetable. It's very easy to find babies when they're born. In fact, typically pregnant women are registering for their shower list and that kind of thing. This is a very easy group to target. So if we go into the key point here, the first one that pretty much everybody agreed to is it's their own fault. You can try to blame Toys R Us problems on Amazon. It's not about Amazon. The fact of the matter is Toys R Us stayed still and didn't have a vision for the future of toy retail. One of our people here, Anthony, says they were just plain lazy. The second point is that it's easy to be the armchair quarterback here. What would have, could have, should have happened? First of all, they did not have a good e-commerce strategy, but their real failure was not innovating in their actual stores. Innovation is probably what killed Toys R Us. Dan Harper says that, Toys R Us is an example of another company failure that's going to be blamed on Amazon, but it wasn't about Amazon. They were actually one of the first companies to partner with Amazon in e-commerce. However, they didn't capitalize on that relationship. He goes on to say that they could have provided customers with options for ordering online, picking up in store, ship to home, ship to store, or even partnering as a pickup location for Amazon, for example. Raul talks about the importance of omni-channel experience and bringing that together. So where were they in that other world? Definitely that is a missed opportunity. So what advice do we have to give to brick and mortar? The key thing with brick and mortar is they actually have a lot of advantages over e-commerce. They have a physical location. They can use that physical location to engage their customer. For example, Henry talks about you really need to introduce eat, play, and shop so that a physical store becomes more like a community. Other famous retailers who employ the eat, drink, and be merry strategy are like IKEA, where you can get your Swedish meatballs while touring the world of IKEA furniture. Tyler also mentions, besides the experience, the idea of superior customer service and also a community or a common mission. So who are the companies that we should be watching? IKEA, Costco. Bass Pro was also mentioned as a company that did a good job reinventing themselves around customer experiences. Macy's and Best Buy were frequently mentioned as companies that could go next. One example that came up about a retailer reinventing was Restoration Hardware, and I thought that one was interesting. It talks about being more omni-channel, a third of store, a third of catalog, and a third of online strategy.
So along the way, any ahas or things that you didn't expect that came up?
Insight that I took away was this board was not very forgiving. One of the first comments was, it's their own fault. You can't blame Amazon, you can't blame Walmart, you can't blame Target. You know, all of these retailers have been experiencing the same market changes, and some have been moving on and some haven't. Why is it their own fault? For goodness sake, Toys R Us was definitely the leader in toys. So as a result, they died. And I think the non-forgiving nature is something that I was a little surprised at.
How did this theme fit into the overall concept of where the panel's going, and did it have any impact on the priority map that you recognized?
The priority map hasn't shifted much. Of course, we have about 6 months in to the priority map. I did notice our top right, so our most likelihood of impact and significance of impact, top right topics are customer targeting and data mining moving beyond marketing. And actually, I do think if you think about those two topics, they are ones that really could have benefited Toys R Us because, as I said earlier, you know, it's easy to target children or target parents of children. Another one that's towards the top right is online shopping linked to your local store. And that is something that came up in this topic, is that, you know, why wasn't Toys R Us pushing for an omni-channel experience?
It does feel like the end of an era in toys. It does seem like our options for experience are getting more and more limited. We're sort of backing up to not an omni-channel, but a solo channel. Well, Dawn, another terrific recording. Greatly appreciate your time. Look forward to the next time to chat.
Okay, thanks, Tom.